What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And a quick reminder, you have till the end of this week to play Heavy Rain and Absolver, both offer free on PlayStation Plus. Download those, play those, come back at the end of this week, and tell us what you thought of them. We'll let you know what we thought of them. And our game of the month also at the end of this week is Earth Defense Force 4.1. We'll be talking about that on Game of the Month, two different shows at the end of this week. So if you have those games, play them, come back, let us know what you thought of them, and we'll have a conversation about it. Also, we have a Discord down in the description box. Make sure to hit the link and talk to us anytime, all the time. And goddamn fucking flying around here. And we are on most podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes. If you'd rather listen to us while driving to work or whatever you're doing, you can do that. And if you're listening to us and you want to see what we're doing or watch what we're watching, feel free to come to YouTube at Tasty Loot Gaming, and why not subscribe if you feel like it. We have a slow week in gaming news. So we have two bits of news to talk about, and then we're going to be watching the new trailer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which will explain some game features that we do not know about, because I have not watched it. I don't think you've watched it.
Nope.
So yeah, that'll be interesting. All right, let's get into it. First bit of news. So as of today, the new crossover update for Ghost Recon Wildlands, part of Special Operations 2, is out now, which is a crossover between Ghost Recon Wildlands and Rainbow Six Siege. It is called Operation Archangel, and it stars Siege's Valkyrie, Twitch, and Caveira, which are three of the operators from Rainbow Six Siege. In this, Caveira has gone missing, and let's see. Valkyrie is working with Twitch, who you will be playing with, your team in Twitch, to find where they're at in Bolivia, since that's where Ghost Recon Wildlands is based. It says players who complete Operation Archangel prior to August 14th will be awarded with Caveira's gloves as in-game customization that, when equipped, allows a player's ghost operative to perform Caveira's special takedown move from Rainbow Six Siege, which is really scary. I was playing in Siege, and she moves around like silently, and I remember I was like sneaking through the building with my gun, and I look over, and she's just walking at me quickly, and she fucking took me down and killed me. I was like, that was like a horror movie. So yeah, quick little tidbit. And yeah, so you'll get her takedown. Also, a new update adds Rainbow Six Gear Pack, which gifts two new weapons: Caveira's Louisian handgun. I'm probably saying these names all wrong. Let me know in the comments how to say them correctly. And the HK 416 assault rifle. The pack also includes Valkyrie and Twitch-themed cosmetics. For PvP play, it's adding two classes, Toxic and Surgeon. The former is inspired by Siege's smoke and uses poisonous gas to asphyxiate targets. And the latter is based off of Siege's Dock and can use a stim gun to revive teammates from a distance. Two new maps, Factory and Checkpoint, are also added. And Observer mode for players who want to watch PvP matches, and a permadeath mode for players that want an additional challenge. What do we think about, first off, Ubisoft doing the long term with their games, all of them, this update, the crossover between Siege and Wildlands, and everything else?
I mean, we've said it a few times at this point. It's great that Ubisoft is showing long-term support for the games. You buy a game and you actually feel like you're going to get longevity out of it, which I think is really important. Something that's been gone for a long time in gaming. I mean, you used to buy a game, and it was really long, and you play it, and then an expansion would come out and just be a whole nother game, essentially, at that point. It's not quite like that, but with bite-sized content coming out all the time, you never really have a reason to stop playing the games, which is great.
Well, it's interesting too, because it seems as though, and these guys have been the ones that have pushed it alongside everybody else, but like really heavily from Ubisoft. There's been a philosophy in gaming that's been slowly changing, and for a while there, a couple of years ago, there's so many games, and still the case now, but there's so many games now that they wanted to put so much content on disc that they kept that disc in your console. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that they ran into is it was too much content at once. So it seems like Ubisoft is going the route of still trying to give you that much content, but over the course of time, which probably helps them with production time, but also gives you new reasons to get excited again. Kind of taking a note from MMOs. MMOs, you play them, they get a little stagnant, and then it gets exciting again because an expansion comes out.
Yeah.
Ubisoft's kind of following that because I mean, like that's a pretty significant update. That's new items, that's new PvP stuff, that's new visual aesthetic stuff, and it's a whole new mission to play. So,
well, and it's funny because they recently did the Splinter Cell one as well.
Yep.
So it's really smart of them to take their own properties, obviously, and be able to make cross events like this and stuff.
And as a big like Tom Clancy fan, I love that they're just now finally kind of having like a crossover that makes these worlds feel like they're all part of the same world.
Right.
Because before, like you play this and you're like, okay, I get it. They're pretty much SWAT team. Okay, I get in this. They're pretty much like special operations that do like the more outdoorsy stuff. I get it. This guy's a singular, assassin / spy type dude.
Right.
But now it feels like these people are all operating at the same time.
Yeah, and even for them to go as far as to add like move sets from like Siege into Wildlands as an example here is neat touch to add to it, especially if you play both games. Otherwise, I mean, a bunch of new modes and being able to watch matches, I think, is also a welcome addition. And overall, it's great that they are able to do this. And now this is a patch, right? Not a DLC.
It's free, yeah. It's just a
okay.
free patch that came out. Everybody has access to it. The only thing that's different is like you have to beat that mission by a certain time to get the special shit. So it's an event.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is pretty popular in a lot of games. I mean,
Yeah.
So hopefully, one thing they do in the long run is repeat events for people to have opportunities again.
Yeah, I wonder how that works because I did the and there's actually a video of it on the channel, but I did the Predator event and it was actually neat. Like it wasn't like super detailed. It wasn't like a Predator game, but it was still interesting to have a whole new thing to do in a game. I mean, you've played plenty of games with events. They're always enough to be different a little bit. And then like when you beat it, you got like a couple things, for what it was, but one of them was like the Predator mask and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool that when you play these, I didn't play the Splinter Cell one, which sucks because hopefully I can get that gear. But yeah.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is like you missed out on it, and hopefully you'll be able to come back to it. And I think a good example of that is like right now, Monster Hunter's doing their summer event, and it's very similar to the spring event. So all that stuff you missed out on, minus maybe the spring cosmetics, are all right back. So.
Which is awesome. I'm glad they're doing that regularly.
And I'd love to see other companies do similar things as well. So hopefully Ubisoft also does that. But I mean, that's pretty much all I have on that.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I'm a fan of both games. I'm a fan of all the Tom Clancy games. I played the shit out of Wildlands. I loved it. I've played the shit out of Siege. Wildlands is a game. Well, actually, I think I bought it digitally, so I guess I'm not. No. I think I own it physically. Anyway, that's a game that is such a big game that's so fun to play with people. That I can't see myself getting rid of it. So I'm glad to see that it's still getting content. Because this is exciting. This is something I want to do. It sounds cool. Too bad nobody fucking owns this game, but it's very fun and I enjoyed it a lot. It was kind of buggy when it first came out, but it definitely has gotten better. But yeah, it's awesome. Like I said before already, I like the whole like cohesion between properties. That's really neat. I do think it's really neat that if you're a fan of Siege, you can get some Siege shit in Wildlands. It'd be kind of cool to see something like maybe someone from this become an operator in Siege, because they're already going to be adding fucking like 50 more guys and girls. So it'd be cool to have that crossover. I like that you're getting a specialized takedown. That's really neat. And the multiplayer, something I need to go back and play, because when it first came out, that was neat. And then they didn't update and they kind of fucked it up. And then, of course, they fixed it. So I'd like to go back and try it because I thought it was really neat. It's cool to see that they're updating that as well. So if maybe you bought that game after that came out and you're like, I really like this multiplayer, you're getting content as well. 2 new maps is great. I would expect maybe 1, but 2 is great. Permadeath modes, I'm all about that. I love that shit. Yeah, no, it sounds cool. And I like that there is 2 new operators that are based off of Siege's smoke move and whoever the other one was, whatever the fuck they said. Yeah, Doc, being able to shoot someone back up. So, I mean, that's really cool. This is awesome. This makes me want to hop back in and play it. So, And I thought I was done with it because I played it a lot, and I was like, I'll wait till somebody maybe picks it up and wants to play, then I'll play again. But this makes me want to play again, so it does exactly what it's supposed to. Anything else you want to say on that?
No.
All right, let us know in the comments. What do you think about this crossover? What do you think about crossovers in general? What do you think about Ghost Recon Wildlands and Rainbow Six Siege? Do you play either of them? Do you play both of them? And if you do, let me know who's your main and what do you do in Wildlands? Do you play the multiplayer? Do you play the single player? Do you play with your friends? Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to that. Second bit of news.
So Anthem, which was shown at E3 this last year and met with a lot of praise and impressed a lot of people, also kind of left people wondering about the direction in which Bioware is going right now. It seems a little out of the wheelhouse, and so there is a theory that EA is pushing in that direction. Well, they recently interviewed James Olin, who worked on Anthem as narrative director for a period of time, and he left BioWare recently after 22 years with the company. I'm just going to ramble off some quotes from him when it comes to this topic. So I think one of the things about BioWare has been really good at, which has allowed it to survive for more than 2 decades, is taking risks and trying new and different things. He pointed out that BioWare has done this multiple times using examples of Neverwinter Nights and Star Wars: The Old Republic, and also brought up that Bethesda has recently also faced similar with Fallout 76. The fact that BioWare is doing something different with Anthem doesn't mean that BioWare isn't going to do games that skew more towards the traditional style that BioWare is known for. It's just a chance to do something a little different. It was driven by BioWare itself, the team. I know there is a lot of the conspiracy theories that EA is the one behind it, but that has never been the case. BioWare has always had a lot of control over the kind of games it makes. And then GameSpot says surely EA has a hand in shaping the direction of Anthem, but it is encouraging to hear that Olin said BioWare has a good amount of control. So what do we think about the conspiracy theory? The weight of what Olin is saying, or do you still think it's EA?
Well, it's interesting they talk about, well, he says it's conspiracy theory. This is something that a lot of people say about a lot of things, depending on who the company is working on what and if it's good or bad. Because typically if it's good, they're always going to say that the company working on it is the ones thinking of the idea. If it's something they don't agree with, they typically want to blame the publisher. It's something I actually fight against sometimes because I think it's a way of people kind of denying what they're kind of worried about. I see it happen quite a bit. I did both of those things. So it makes sense that people think that. I mean, I still think that with this game, just because it makes complete sense that Destiny, The Division, and games even like Warframe and games that you're playing with like 3 friends and they're kind of like an MMO, but they're kind of a single player game, are really popular right now. Makes complete sense that they would want to make a game like that as well. Now, if BioWare, if it's their idea, maybe even the early concept was a completely different styled game, but still thematically the same looking, that they thought about, you're going to be in mechs, it's going to be futuristic, and EA might have pushed them to make it more like loot based, drop based, hub based, faux MMO like. It's completely possible, and I still don't think he could be saying this and that could still be true. So I think what he's saying is true, but I think it's almost impossible to rule out that EA has a driving force in this, especially after some of the failures BioWare's had recently. It's hard for me to believe that they are in full control of their direction, just because in almost every single medium where somebody takes a lot of money to make something, to make a lot of money, you succeed, you get a lot of freedom. You fail, you start losing some of that freedom. So, and the only reason, and like I said, this could be all their idea, makes complete sense. I'm not even doubting them because BioWare's very talented company. And if you look back at like Naughty Dog, they used to make Crash Bandicoot, and now they make The Last of Us. Yeah. So people can definitely go, as they grow, let's try something new. It happens all the time. But even when he mentions like a game like The Old Republic, it still very much follows in an MMO way their structure on how they make games. I think it's great that they try something new because this doesn't look like a Bioware game to me. You could literally show me this and not tell me who made it, and I would never guess it's Bioware, which is awesome. I'm glad to see them doing something different, but that could just be them completely having a new idea and just trying it out. Or it could be a little bit of both. A little bit of they had an idea and a world envisioned, a story to tell, and they're like, hey, can we make this into like a faux MMO type game? And they're like, yeah, maybe we'll work on it. Because I know they had a lot of production problems with this game as well early on. So anyway, to fucking pull it together, I believe what he's saying, and I do think that they had the core main idea and the drive is all theirs. I do think EA has some say in it, though. I think it'd be kind of weird to assume they don't or they didn't at all. But I also don't think that they're like the overlords that are like whipping people at Bioware like, fucking, you need to make a game that's going to compete with those other two games. And if you don't, we're going to fucking fire all of you. So, and some people are definitely going to think EA's like, because EA's always voted like the worst company ever. They're going to think that they're doing the worst thing ever. So I think it's somewhere in between. I think it's closer to Bioware.
Didn't Comcast win that recently over EA finally?
Fuck, they should. EA sucks, but EA's just annoying. They do shitty practices, blah blah blah. Comcast has a fucking monopoly, and they practice shitty practices that you can't avoid.
Yeah,
it's fucked up. I hate Comcast.
So I agree with most of what you said. I do think EA pays the bills, so they do have some say. Though I think you do bring up a good point that BioWare could have originally already had a concept of world and ideas. They may not have had a game type in mind, and EA may have been like, hey, these other two companies that are kind of our biggest competition would have this style of game.
They're making this kind of money.
Could you think that would work for one of your games, type thing? It may not have been you need to do this as much as just like suggestive.
Yeah, and once they agree to it, they're still in control.
Yeah.
So it's real easy to use the wording and be like, yeah, we're in control of it because they asked us.
But I mean, even like, and time will tell, but if as soon as the game starts and the storytelling is like, there's a lot of dialogue, and it's all voice acted, and there's lots of choices and stuff like that, you're gonna go, okay, this is definitely a Bioware game.
If I see that, I'll withdraw everything I said about it being like completely different.
And then I also think it's a good point to say that companies change all the time, and you used a good example, and I also want to further that example by saying Guerrilla Games made Killzone, and then they made
first-person shooter look good,
Horizon Zero Dawn, and Horizon Zero Dawn is way different,
completely different game. Yeah.
So
fucking the guys made No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
They made that Danger Joe game, where the fuck it was called. It's like a little motorcycle trials game.
Well, even within No Man's Sky now, and obviously it's not out yet, but like it went from what it was to I don't know if you've seen the stuff for the multiplayer update, but there's like actual customizable characters that you get to make and stuff for your characters.
I have that installed.
Has base building and all. So the game has come a long ways as well, and that's even within one game. So
maybe that should be our game of the month next month.
Yeah, because I think the multiplayer comes out this month. So
I think it's out.
Is it out now?
I think so. Let us know in the comments. Anyway.
I installed it because I knew it was coming, and that's as far as I got on that.
It's the only reason it's on my hard drive right now.
Yeah. But anyways, I think, with the words he's using, because it's very easy to, like you kind of said, the control thing. If it's your idea and you're making the game, you are technically in control of it. Even if someone else was like, you should make this kind of game, you agree to it, you're still in control.
Or if you've been influenced, you still controlled saying yes to that.
But I think overall, I think it's exciting for BioWare to do something different, step out of their comfort zone. I also am comforted by the fact that he basically is saying they're still going to make their other types of games because worst case scenario, this game is awful and they go back to what they're good at, or best case scenario, this game is great and they have another type of game to work on. So,
well, and if this game is bad, people will instantly blame EA, which to a certain degree, like I get where they're coming from because they've been fucked over by them. But if this game's good, no one's gonna blame EA.
No.
So
They're
it's
gonna
a really
praise Bioware.
it's a really interesting dynamic how that works. So I just view it as like, EA is the influencer, but the person making the game is fucking Bioware. And Bioware does have a long legacy, so they do definitely have control. But again, like I said, with the last Mass Effect that did not do as well as I'm sure EA would have liked, I don't think they're giving them fucking free reign on everything. So
Yeah, I also think it's important to note that this game is made by the main team too.
Yeah, not the same team that made the other one.
Yeah.
But the company as a whole, if they lost the money, they're gonna be like, we need to be careful.
For sure.
So, anything else to say on that?
No.
Pretty much. Okay, so like just to, put together though again, like we don't necessarily buy any of the extremes. Pretty much think it's probably something more down the middle.
It has to be.
Yeah.
There's no because they are a company of EA, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not 100% of their own free will. I really doubt EA just hands them a blank check every month and goes, "Hey, have fun."
No, they're not. They're not
stockholders, please.
They're not like a Naughty Dog type company. Just because Naughty Dog hasn't made any mistakes yet. So,
I mean, even Blizzard, right?
Yeah.
Who gets to pretty much do whatever they want. Still, like Activision still goes, "We need this many products by this time frame."
It's because of Activision that Overwatch exists.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Because when they merged together, they had like essentially a plan for the next whatever years to have this and this and this and this done by then. The ideas of Overwatch, of course, are Blizzard's. Everything there is them, but they wanted some kind of shooter. Yeah. So, which is great because everybody loved Overwatch. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about the EA controlling conspiracy theory? Do you think EA is in full control of the direction of Bioware's games? Do you think Bioware is in full control? Do you kind of, are you in line with us when it comes to kind of in the middle ground there? What do you think really about anything about this? Are you excited for Anthem? Do you think it's going to be awesome? Do you think it had too many problems and you're kind of worried about it? Or do you think it's going to fucking suck? Let us know in the comments everything you have to say and think about Anthem. Third bit of news is not, well, I mean, it is news. There's information here, but we're going to be watching a video for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Welcome to Paititi. Paititi? I don't know how to say it. I'm sure they'll say it in the video. But yeah, it's going to show some NPCs, some of a hub area, I guess, petting an alpaca, which I love alpacas. So that'll be interesting. And yeah, it's 10 minutes long. So let's watch this. Anything you want to say on this before we watch it? Hype level?
Pretty much non-existent, but I haven't been playing the Tomb Raider games.
Yeah. I have both of them.
The alpaca, every time I hear that word, I always think of Mabinogi.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot of the deep fucking dark minor dungeon game.
No, not gnomes. Dwarves in space.
Yeah, Deep Rock Galactic. And there is a mineral called alpaca. And every time I see that, I think alpaca. I'm like, we got to go mine alpaca? Dope. All right. And yeah, like I said, I own the two games. I've played them both a little bit each. They're fine. They're fun. I haven't beaten either. I don't know if I ever will. But this one does seem like the second game seemed more of the same as the first one, which is great. A little more expanded. This one seems like they're really kind of trying to carve something individual. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens. All right, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Do we have volume? Oh, shit. Detailed.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of a hub.
Hi, my name is Jason Dozwa, and I'm the narrative director on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. In Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Lara Croft races to defeat Trinity and stop a Maya apocalypse. Along the way, she'll discover a hidden city. Welcome to Paititi, the largest hub ever found in a Tomb Raider game. It's home to a civilization untouched by modern culture and filled with challenge tombs and side missions. As Lara makes her way through Paititi, she'll visit multiple districts.
She got a bow and arrow. They're like, oh, she's one of us.
Areas. Lara can use her archaeologist skills to decipher
saw the
murals.
alpaca.
Doing so increases her translation ability.
It was
and
fluffy.
unlocks locations for hidden treasure and other secrets.
I don't know what it is about having like hubs in games, but I like getting back my shit together and preparing to go again.
Yeah.
Which is technically like an extra step that a lot of people probably wouldn't want, but it seems like people do enjoy doing that.
The marketplace is a thriving
Well, I
economy
mean, look at survival
and
games.
introduces a new
People
barter
usually make a
system
home
that allows
base.
Lara
Yeah,
to
so-
trade for a wide variety of items, including
It's
crafting
nice knowing you're
materials,
safe and you can
outfits,
get your shit
and
together.
weapons. By activating an option called voiceover immersion, you can hear the inhabitants of Paititi speak in their native language for an even more captivating experience. If you don't
That's
activate
cool.
it, they will simply speak in your chosen voiceover language.
Will you trade? Please. I have barely made enough to offer in tribute.
Tribute to who?
The cult of Kukulkan, of course.
So if you listen to them in their native language, is there subtitles?
Yeah, I showed it earlier.
Okay.
Which is probably how I would play it if I was
Yeah.
planning on playing
No,
this.
I love the idea of really watching or doing whatever, hearing things in the original format. It's like the side quests.
Yeah. I also appreciate that it sounds like this. People having conversations all over the place.
Yeah, it's not, sound design's so important. I'll play games every once in a while and I don't hear the person walking. It drives me fucking insane. So having that atmosphere, just like at a game when you're in the forest, you can hear birds and
The
stuff. I'm like,
inhabitants
okay,
of Paititi
this is,
go about
this is
their
good.
business, though many have optional information or side quests for Lara to complete. Doing so will not only reward her with experience
Lara.
points, new weapons, and more, it can also yield new information within the narrative.
I thought I told you to go.
Kuali is safe and I have the herbs your wife needs.
Really?
Hubs. Yeah, I would totally play with like that.
Thank you for all you've done.
Damn, you get little chubby boy
Town
hugs.
Square and Religious District are both filled with
The
people,
pet alpacas
one of the
and hug
inhabitants
fucking
lets
little
Lara
bull
know about a
cats?
challenge tomb outside the city.
Lara, I hate to ask you, but
But would I go and get the champion's bow?
Oh yeah,
find
you
the
know.
entrance directly across from here, up the shore of the river.
Don't worry, I'll do my best to get the bow.
I'll just find it. I'll get it. That guy's jamming. Ba 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 ba. It's also cool too, because like Lara Croft is obviously like an adventurer, explorer, Tomb Raider. So it's neat to know that she's actually running like into those like places. She's running into people because you would,
Yeah.
if you're gonna be out in those woods for so long. So it kind of adds to the immersion of actually being on these adventures and not just always being alone in caves, running into like one person every once in a while.
And a dinosaur.
Yeah, and Dinosaur Yoshi. They should do a crossover. It sounds like it has pretty decent sound design. I keep listening to all the sounds.
Oh, the environments are really good looking too.
Yeah. I just like that this one almost reminds me of like a new age. Like the last two,
You
of
can play
course,
the
are
way
like
you want
new
by
age
adjusting
Tomb Raiders,
difficulty
but
independently for puzzles, exploration, and combat to easy, normal, or hard.
this one
Here,
visually reminds me
exploration
of like the
difficulty
old
is
Tomb
set to
Raiders.
hard,
Yeah.
Like
which
with
removes
the
the
actual
white paint that
tombs and
usually
shit.
shows you where to climb.
Remember that one when they tried to resurrect Tomb Raider again? Came out like for like PC and stuff. You locked on people and did like, well, I guess that's all the old Tomb Raiders, but you do like backflips and shit. What the hell is it called? It was the one that I was like, oh, this one's not so bad, because before that there was like 2 or 3 that were really bad.
Man, I can't keep track of all the names.
There's so many Tomb Raiders that have existed. But I'm sure that one's garbage now. But I remember playing, I'm like, oh, this one ain't so
She's on the
bad.
cover in like a pure black suit, isn't she?
I think so, yeah. And that one has like urban areas and shit you're going to.
The PyTT hub includes a dense jungle that hides several challenge tombs. It also has crypts
So
tucked
there's
away.
Angel of Darkness too,
But
that
reaching
one's
them will
garbage.
require some advanced traversal skills. The reward is great, however, as crypts are now as large as tombs used to be, offering a trap-filled labyrinth to navigate and rewards for those who can survive them.
So a bunch of optional tombs, essentially.
The first one I believe had something similar to that, but I don't think they're as big. Like he was saying, they're the size of tombs or whatever. Because I remember it was either in the first one or second one, but there was like these
However, Lara is still looking for the challenge tomb she was told about, and it seems the entrance is hidden underwater. Luckily, one of Lara's skills is an upgraded breath meter, so she can reach the tomb.
Ew, I hate that. She's underwater going through a crack. The hell was I saying? Oh, there was like these random. What the fucking? They're like not huts. They're like some kind of shrine buildings, and you had to go through and do like a puzzle there to get shit.
Gotcha. Oh, that's dark.
Good. Also doesn't help we have lights in our face.
Yeah.
Makes contrast quite different.
The
I'm
gate's
impressed with
open.
their sound design.
Now I'll just have to get over there.
I'm glad they don't show off too much at a time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's a couple areas that like you have to figure out. So I think it's interesting about Tomb Raider as opposed to any other game like this, so like Uncharted, but that not only are you just like fighting and killing things, which seems to almost be lesser than the other aspects, but like platforming like the old school days and like avoiding getting killed by things is also important. It's like a core part of the
Tombs are
gameplay.
brutal and filled with even more traps and puzzles. They also require new traversal skills such as rappelling and swimming in order to unlock the secrets they hold. We won't spoil this one, which is known as the Warrior's Trial. In Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Lara must explore the city of PyTT, survive the deadly jungle that surrounds it, and overcome brutal tombs in order to become the Tomb Raider she's destined to be.
That was 10 minutes already, yeah?
Yeah, that was quick.
That was quick.
All right, impressions, thoughts.
I think you actually kind of nailed it pretty well when you said it kind of reminds me of the older ones. Mm-hmm. Mostly just because of the more of the emphasis on the exploration and the platforming and the environment instead of just like killing things. Now, granted, I didn't really play the last two that much, so for all I know, that could have been there for a while, but I just don't remember advertising it as such. So
Yeah. The first one is interesting because it's still. It felt like it was taking after Uncharted, which is an interesting turn since Uncharted took after it, but the original ones. But they really tried to add survival mechanics to it, which at the time, a lot of survival games were really popular, so it made sense they're taking after that. And a lot of like brutality. I think they're going for like a raw, real feeling, and I think they overdid it in that. The second one didn't play that much, but it felt a lot like the first one. This one, though, seems like she's more established as a Tomb Raider. It's not an origin story, and it looks more like Tomb Raider. You're going into these tombs, you're exploring, you're having to figure out contraptions and traps and shit and dodge certain things, and this one, This one does not remind me of like skip the second game, the first one. If you look at the first one, look at this. I think there's actually quite a bit of difference here now because this one seems like it's more comfortable in knowing that like we don't have to remake this game series now and hope people like it. Right. They're going, okay, the last 2 games worked. Let's make this feel like a confident Tomb Raider game, and that's what it looks like to me. Watching that actually makes me want to go play the other 2 games. So I mean that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
Because they're not on my mind ever. So, but yeah, I agree with what you're, well, kind of what I said, but what you were saying.
Yeah.
That it looks like the older ones. Any interest in it?
Honestly, not really. I'd be interested in watching parts of it, but I just know it's a game I'd play for like a day and then forget about probably. Which is nothing negative against the game. It's just not really in my wheelhouse.
I'd like to see more. I'd like to see enemy types, but I'd like to see more animals. The first game had like wolves and stuff,
Which
and
I hated.
Yeah, they're okay, but like one thing I really liked about the older Tomb Raiders is like you'd go into like a fucking cave and there'd be like a bear, and then other times there'd be wolves, and other times there'd be like monkeys or whatever the hell, and like there's all these different types of animals that I'd really like to see, and they might have that in the last 2. Like I said, I've played a couple hours of each game. And if they do have that, let me know in the comments. But I'd like to see that in this because they already. First off, I'm weird. I'm weird about sound and music and all that stuff. So I really think the sound design sounds good. It was enough for me to go, oh hey, they actually put some work into that because there's a lot of things going on. Visually looks cool. The gameplay looks good. I just like to see. And they already did it with the town. It's densely packed. It seems alive. There's a lot of sound and people doing random things. I like to see that with the jungle around it as well. So hopefully they do that because that'd make the world more interesting. I'd hate to be walking around what would feel like an empty jungle, with random dudes with machine guns. So which is what the first game kind of felt like to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I'm interested in it. I don't know if I'd buy it. I'd have to see more on it. Realistically, I think I'd have to go back and play the other 2 and try and find some love in them before I could buy this. Because I don't think I could just hop into this one without playing the prior ones all too much.
Yeah, except for I feel like they designed them to make sure that you don't have to.
Well, and that's good for people like that. For me, though, I couldn't hop into the 3rd game of a series and just get invested.
Right.
Yeah, the only game that ever did that to me was Dark Souls 2. I played Dark Souls 2 quite a bit and just clicked. I was like, because I liked the first one, but I didn't love it at first. And then I played the second one, fell in love with it, and I was like, fuck. And I went back and played Dark Souls. I played Demon Souls before that, but that game was kind of clunky at the time. And again, I have a lot of love for that game now. So that's like the only series that's ever done that. Otherwise, I don't really hop into a game later and go back. It doesn't happen very often.
Right.
So anything else?
No.
Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Shadow of the Tomb Raider? What do you think about the video? Are you excited for this game? What are you excited about? Are you not excited for this game? Not really your cup of tea, or you're just like, fuck, this game looks like shit. I hate it. I hate the woods. Let us know. But that's going to do it for this episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out my streams on Twitch and on this channel at Tasty Senpai, all one word. Hit the notification button to know when I go live. We're on Discord, link down below. Also, Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast platforms. You can listen to us there. And I believe those are also down below. Yep. All like 8 or 9 of them, so there's quite a bit. If you're listening to this, make sure to come check us out on YouTube. And yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And until the end of the week, we'll be doing 2 episodes this week, Game of the Month and Plus Club. So hopefully you guys get a chance to play those games. But until then, have a great week, guys, and take it easy.